October 2011, traveling back to Haiti, only this time for a special purpose. A team, gathered from many different locations, came together for a medical mission trip to the bush area of Pestel. Most of the children living at New Life have come from this region. Our team, 3 Haitian-born people aiding the rest of the team in translation, 2 helicopter pilots, 7 nurses, 2 first responders, and 2 pastors. To start our week, we all met at New Life for Children's Home and Rescue Center in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, to introduce ourselves to one another and review and process all the medication that had been bought and donated for this trip. Then it was off to pack the truck with all supplies and head out on the long 9-hour journey, all over very rough terrain. The journey brought surprises of traversing water, sharp curves, and close to the edge mountain driving. Even a little motion sickness slowed our track. Nothing could keep us from reaching our final destination of Jolly Galbert, where base camp would be for the next 5 days. Base camp was the home of a pastor and his family that lived in this region. They honored us by giving up their bedroom as a bunkhouse for some of the women, showed us the path to the bathrooms, where we would take our bucket baths, and honored us with many local women coming to cook for the team each morning and evening. Day 1 clinic was held directly across the street from our base camp. We woke with the roosters and dogs and began to prepare a concrete building for the clinic that doubled as a local school other days of the year. As the word was sent out long before we had arrived, many people of all ages, with many different ailments, were already waiting in the hot sun. Prayers were offered for all, and nurses began assessing the people that had come. Worst cases came into the clinic first, and the rest waited for their turn in line. Each person that day was seen, diagnosed, treated, and sent to the pharmacy before leaving. A meal was offered to all that were seen in the clinic that day as well. We saw 300 to 400 people that day. One young man was diagnosed with liver failure, another older man with TB, both sent to a hospital for further treatment. 2 young boys, severely malnourished, were taken back to New Life for treatment as well that day. That evening, an unexpected pleasure occurred. But isn't that just the way God works? A pregnant woman had come into the clinic earlier in the day, only to have her water break when she walked in. We had the honor of helping to see a new life born that evening. Oh, what an experience it was to see the ritual of bathing, clothing, and offering this child to God. Just getting to Day 2 clinic was an event in itself. We traveled over very rough terrain and through a marketplace. The marketplace was so busy and the roads were so narrow, our vehicle barely fit. We managed to make it up the long, rocky hills. Traveling slowly, we had an opportunity to see how many people live, and saw many smiling faces along the way, preparing our hearts for the day ahead. This is the village and the building where our second day clinic was held. People waiting in line to be seen, our volunteers applying scabies medication, and our knowledgeable nurses sitting and listening to the needs of each individual and assessing their situation. Here is a young boy who was healthy and playing one day and paralyzed the next. We took him back to New Life. A young lady who had an epileptic seizure the night before we arrived and fell into a fire pit. She had severe 3rd-degree burns down the right side of her body. We would take her to a local hospital. And a young mom with 3 children, the youngest one of which was very sick with respiratory problems. We took her back to New Life as well. And of course, each day feeding all who came to the clinic. We probably saw another 300 people this day. Day 3 clinic found us in the town of Pestel. As we went, we saw people traveling to market, kids playing, and children coming to and from school. We even had the opportunity to visit a local cistern project that will at some point bring fresh water to all in the region. We also visited a local hospital where we had transferred our burn victim from the prior day's clinic. Then it was off to meet our boat captain as we traveled to a remote island off of the main island for our next clinic. 30 minutes on the water. We were getting closer, and here we were arriving. Many of the island people were there to greet us and show us the way to the local church, where we would hold clinic for the next couple of hours. We dewormed all the people who came to clinic here and followed up with a tasty vitamin treat. We even treated one woman who had a puncture wound in her ankle. Pastor Ralph from Trinidad told the story of Jesus to all the children that were present, and then asked them if they would like to follow Christ. Most said yes and came forward to pray. We got a chance to play and sing with the children, but late afternoon was coming too quickly, and we all had to say our goodbyes. Day 4 clinic found us in a small village high in the mountains. What a bounty of beauty God saved to share with us on our last day. Views of lush tropical foliage, majestic mountains, and a clear blue Caribbean sea. Clinic was held in a local church, and many people were in line long before we arrived. Our nurses assessing each person coming into the clinic, taking their vital signs, and giving deworming pills. And some of the children even got to hear their mom's heartbeat. Each person was seen by the pharmacy. We took this baby back to the hospital with our other burn patient. Another busy but successful day of seeing about 300 patients. By now, you are probably wondering why 2 helicopter pilots were part of our team. They were looking for a piece of land that they could build a pad on so it could be used to fly out of for emergency lifts in Haiti and other Caribbean islands. Guess what? They think they found it. Our last morning was spent seeing many people come by the road in front of our compound, hoping against hope that we would want to see them and offer some kind of help. But it wasn't long before we had to share what food we had left with a remote village via donkey and start getting all the kids and parents loaded into the truck for the hard journey back to new life. I am very glad to report that after arriving at New Life, all of the kids we brought back with malnutrition are doing much better. And here are some recent pictures of them I'd like to share with you. The team in New Life for Children's Home and Rescue Center want to thank all of you for your donations and prayers of support. Thank you for helping us be the hands and feet of our one and only Savior. For more information about New Life for Children's Home and how you might help, please visit www.newlifeforkids.org.